Hello everybody, welcome to Snyder's Inc. And today we got that chapter video. Excuse me if I have stuff on my face. I just finished eating a thing of scalloped potatoes. And I looked at the time, realized that if I want to get the videos I need to get done, I have to get going. So I didn't get a chance to wash my face quickly. So if I have anything, I apologize for that. Anyways. That chapter video is called Narcissistic Cop That Killed for His Dark Secret. Kevin Gregson. We won't get right into it, ladies and gentlemen. Hit the like button, subscribe on the comments thing down below. Let's go.
Hey you, and welcome. My name is Mike, and in this old video, it is Canada, it's Kevin, and it's killer time. The subject of today's video is just one of those lads who's just so loathsome. You'll see what I mean at the end of the video. If you don't agree, check yourself. That's all I can say. See, this guy had one bright idea in a life full of not so bright ones, and it was the worst bright idea you will ever hear. Please subscribe to see new videos every week. Now, let's give it a go.
I'm just making this clear because there's some people who do. This is not the official That Chapter video, so for those wondering, if you're watching this only for that chapter, because there's people who've done this, so I'm just saying it now, and you're like, why is the guy on the screen talking? It's because this is my channel, and I'm reacting to that chapter. If you got an issue in that, if you want the original video without me talking, the link to the original video is in the description below. Thank you.
And it was there in... The Ottawa Civic Hospital lies just to the southwest of the heart of the city.
Oh my god, I was literally talking to people from Ottawa today. That's weird.
And it was there in the early morning hours of the 29th of December 2009 that RCMP Constable Eric Chapnick was sitting in his cruiser outside the emergency bay of that hospital. See, he needed to write up, a few little notes, scribbling away in his little notepad about an incident he had just responded to before heading back out on duty with Ninas and all that. It was a very cold, dark night right in the middle of December, so not many people around, and who could blame them? And that is what made what happened all the more shocking. As Eric was sitting in his car, doing his thing, looking at his watch, waiting for third shift to end, out of nowhere, a man lunged at him with a knife, stabbing the ever-living shit out of Eric. Before he even knew what happened, Eric, in this frenzied attack, stabbed multiple times. He hadn't even time to defend himself as the knife went in and in and in again. After witnessing this frenzied attack, several paramedics who had been standing nearby ran over and briefed this guy of Constable Eric, pinning him to the ground and calling 911. They also began working on Constable Eric Chapnick, who managed to run into the building. Now, Constable Eric Chapnick had been stabbed in both sides of his neck, and the damage was absolutely catastrophic. Despite all the responders throwing themselves into the attempt to save his life, Eric's wounds were just too severe, and he died shortly afterward.
Oh my god, so this guy little mind his own business doing work and he just got stabbed to death for it. No idea what happened, now he got a chance to defend himself. As a cop, he didn't even get a chance to defend himself. That's insane. I'm confused, because if he was sitting in his car, how the heck did someone just he'd get stabbed without ever... I'm missing something here, because if he was in his car just doing notes, how did he get stabbed without having a chance to prepare himself?
Two things were equally as shocking as what happened to Eric. One was that the attacker himself was a former RCMP officer. The other thing that was as shocking was the motive for why he attacked Eric in the first place. Okay. I hear you barking, big dogs. What led to this? Let's see.
Okay.
On the 30th of August 1966, it all began with the birth of Kevin Reed Gregson. Although he actually wasn't called Gregson when he popped out, as he had been adopted at just 2 days old by Reed and Faye, aka the Gregsons of Ottawa. Now, importantly, Reed and Faye were not given any information on Kevin and his background, other than he'd been born on a reserve and had Métis heritage. Now, from his early years, Kevin, it was one of those there's something wrong with Kevin type situations. He began to exhibit some very worrying behavior. Like, he enjoyed shooting small animals. He would oftentimes just fly off the handle. He had a very hard time controlling his emotions, specifically the emotion called anger. These incidents would get sometimes so...
Don't think that guy should be a cop. I don't think the guy that has problems controlling his emotions should be a cop. Probably shouldn't be. Just a thought.
So bad, his mother would lock Kevin into the garage out of fear he would hurt someone else or himself. She had thrown away the key. He would run away from home. He'd get into physical fights with his parents. At one point, he even got so bad, they chucked him out and he had to go to like child welfare, social services had to get involved, and he, after a couple of months, the Gregsons took him back. Probably, were like, doesn't seem like a good idea. They were right.
30 years later.
I don't have any friends. At all. And I don't need friends. Because my dad's like that. He once told me, he says, you know what? When you have friends, you gotta go and be nice and do things to be acceptable to them. So if you do your own thing, you can do your own thing. You don't have to worry about it. And I have picked up that philosophy.
Now, Kevin was raised in the Church of Latter-day Saints, and he continued his little bad boy behavior with them too, stealing items, TVs from churches, and all that kind of stuff, which led to his initial run-ins with the law. However, Kevin actually undertook a 2-year-long mission for the church between 1988 and 1990, and he apparently took his duties on behalf of the church very seriously. Yet several of his colleagues noted that he could be very difficult to deal with and seemed like a bit of a bully, that being a label that would come up time and time again in relation to Kevin.
Oh boy.
Look, the thing about me, the way at my work, how they describe me is I'm very brutally honest and I'm awkward. Because I don't get up and I don't try and I don't pass the buck. I don't.
That's exactly what you're doing.
No, I'm not.
You think that somehow this whole event is acceptable because you are only trying to find a gun to kill yourself.
Now, after his time as a missionary,
What the hell did this guy do?
Kevin actually got one of them jobs. He began working as an orderly at the Royal Ottawa Mental Health Centre, which is, it's kind of ironic.
I was about to say, how is this guy working in a mental health center and is not just in one?
Is that ironic or not? That Morissette song really screwed me up. But Kevin's dream was to go on and become a cop. But not only was Kevin's own personality standing in the way, his actual earlier run-in with the law when he robbed the church, that kind of stood in his way too. You see, Kevin's conviction for the church theft at age 19 meant that he was ineligible to join the police force. And so his only hope was to wait until 10 years had passed since the conviction and then petition the court for a pardon and have his record sealed. However, luck was with Kevin's side on this one, and he did manage to get over this hurdle to his own law enforcement career. And Kevin attended and graduated from the RCMP Academy, Depot Division, on the 4th of August, 1988. Now, credit where credit's due, he wasn't always the worst. Just like a lot of times he was the worst. But he once got a citation for bravery after he disarmed an armed man in Saskatchewan. So it's like, alright, fair dues. Big balls, but used in the worst way. Sadly though, Kevin kind of peaked a little bit too early, because only 4 years after getting a wee medal, in 2006 he kind of got into a few little argy-bargies with his superiors. And they were like, there's the door. And you know what, folks? When it's dark outside, which
We ain't got time for ads unless you're paying me for them. Ain't gonna happen.
he would be suspended from the force. And it was during that period that Kevin finally snapped. Kevin Gregson is the definition of narcissistic personality, of arrogance, of a person who wanted attention. And all that combined with his lack of morality made for a pretty shite mix. Everyone was wrong except Kevin, of course. That was how he viewed the world and everything in it. And so he continued to butt heads in the RCMP. He saw himself as a hero, completely delusional, failing to notice that he had zero positive qualities at all. What were those run-ins, you ask? Kevin, you see, was in the process of renewing his temple recommended to essentially be a member of his church. You can't even enter them if you're not temple recommended. Well, see, to do that, you have to do some interviews with the bishop, and Kevin, well, during one of those interviews with the bishop, he whipped out a knife and said this: "You don't know how many ways I've been taught to kill a man. I would rather fight you with this knife than with a pistol. I can take someone out much faster with this than any other way." Nice. Badass. So we got in a lot of trouble for that because the bishop promptly reported him. Other than that, though, other officers would say he's a real bully, he's a real asshole, and Kevin himself didn't keep these thoughts himself. He would refuse to work with others, saying they were beneath him. And ORCMP.
Great, good job, Gregson. You're a legitimate you are a police officer who is literally known by his superiors and everyone around him as a fucking asshole. Unbelievable. Unfucking believable.
Internal threat assessment on Gregson from 2007 found Gregson was on the verge of harming someone. Reports were written on him that he was essentially a child who would throw a tantrum when he heard an N-O. It actually took some time. It wasn't until 2008 that Kevin was finally kind of pushed out. But see, what they do is they don't just sack you, they don't just fire you. They kind of make your life suck so much and your job so shite that you're like, you know, you quit. Essentially, rather than them firing you, which is pretty shitty. Now, Kevin, see, was appealing, though, this.
Gregson, you know what? This guy's such an asshole. I'm actually okay with the fact they just made him suffer until he quit. I'm okay with that.
His suspension and all that. And you know what his master plan to win his job back was?
Wait, so did he get suspended and told to sit at home pretty much until he quit the job? That's fucking amazing.
You're gonna love this. He worked with his mother to bake a whole load of cookies, right? And then he went to the police chief's house with his mother and a big old tray of cookies and said, "Give me my job back, here you go." He literally tried a cookie bribe to like the head of the ORCMP. If you can believe it, it did not work. That gave Kevin one of brand new...
I can't believe it. I wouldn't be... Listen, what type of cookies were they? You know, what type of cookies were they? Were they possibly good cookies? You know, listen, you might should have considered that. The guy should have considered that. Those might have been good cookies.
Suspensions, and in early 2009 he was given the ultimatum: resign or be dismissed. Kevin decided to fight this once again.
That I could die and leave at any time. And this has been going on since 2005. And that's what's kept me going. So I've been suicidal for 5 freaking years. So for me, it's no big deal. It sucks to be me. So it's just things like that. And it was just getting to me. Then they took my pay.
That was this summer, right?
No, that was, they kept it going until November. Then they took it. But the thing they did wrong was they tied it into the panel, which they can't do, and that screwed themselves.
Okay.
Plus, when they took it...
So there's my point. That's my point.
Yeah.
So you said they can't do this and you've appealed this stuff. So why, at this juncture, do you decide, well, Kevin Gregson's checking out? Why? What now? I don't get it. I really don't.
Because I have $30.
Because you have a beautiful son. You have a wife that stood by you to this point.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Gotta ask, what woman dated him and married him? What am I missing about this guy that goes, that should be married and then I should have a kid with this guy? I don't get it.
You have children out west that'll always stand by you.
No, they won't.
And you have your church or your religion.
Joke.
Your religion.
It's just time. I had enough.
With his work life falling apart through no one's fault but his own, something in Kevin that had up until now been holding back his worst tendencies gave away, and years of pent-up frustrations spilled over. And it will come out that during this time in 2009, late 2009, he'd been molesting a 10-year-old girl 4 times.
I don't know if there's ever been a guy who's become more and more unlikable as time has gone on, but this guy just needs to... rot in hell, you asshole.
Over a period of a few days and had been collecting pornos of the, well, you know, kind. This guy gets better and better! Well, you know what? Some women thought so, because I should mention that during all of this, Kevin had been married and divorced 3 times. 3 whole times. If Kevin can get married to 3 different women, there truly is hope for us all. Of course, none would last due to Kevin's narcissism and psychopathy, leading to very unhappy marriages, full of abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse, sexual abuse, verbal abuse, you name it. Pick a word, put abuse after it, you got it, right? He was completely unsuited towards family life and marriage.
I've done
The allegation against you is that you took somebody's life.
Yeah.
We're on opposite sides of the table. We still do the same thing. They obviously hired us for the same reason.
Yeah. So, whatever.
I just don't know how you get to the conclusion.
To me, all people are bad. That's it.
That's problematic for me.
Well, yeah, I know, but that's how I view it. I look at everybody and they're all bad. And that's it. And they sometimes...
That's the definite. Yeah, he's definitely a narcissist. A narcissist, as Bobby Heaney once said.
exhibit a bit of good. But for the most part, they're bad. And that's it. And that's being human.
Well, that's glass half empty. It's not human. It's glass half empty. You choose to do that. That's not necessarily true.
So with him being just a rancid sack of shit, him losing his job, and also having numerous mental health problems, things blew up on December 29th, 2009, outside of a hospital. He lunged at Constable Chapnick. They fought. Chapnick got away, but would lose his life.
The guy's dead. It's like, oh, holy shit. It's just like, oh, no. Okay.
Like you said downstairs, the drama's over.
Yeah, it is over. I'm not gonna get upset. It's done. I tried to die and I couldn't die. I can't die.
It's not about you.
I know it's not about me, but I'm just saying.
It stopped being about you when he took his life.
Yeah, and I'm just saying.
In the execution of his duty. That's where we need to get straight here.
I'm just saying is that I'm not gonna go and cause trouble. I'm just gonna.
What trouble could you cause?
With these boys? Because they all walk around me and they're getting ready to scrub me in case I go nuts or something.
You're nuts. You're already nuts. You can't go nuts. You're already nuts. You're a psychopath. You're insane.
The nuts part is all done. It
is done.
I tried to take my life and it didn't work. So now
but you
it's
keep
just
talking about you.
that.
Keep talking about you.
Of course, I'm going to talk about me.
However, after he grabbed a knife and went at Chapnick, and he was pinned down and restrained, doctors who had failed to save Chapnick's life were forced, got a freaking Hippocratic oath, man. They then had to work on Kevin Gregson because he, I don't know what the best way to say this is, but he kind of sorta tried to take his own life. And I really do mean that, because he did have stab wounds around his neck, self-inflicted, but the wounds Kevin did to himself were like, here's a microphone cover from the podcast, this. That's about as much damage as he did. They were mostly superficial lacerations.
That I'm just tough, I'm physically fit. So, and even with these cutting my throat, I got in there good and deep.
I think he doesn't have the... He don't have the insides to take his own life. You'll be honest, probably would have been if they just let him die. Maybe they should have helped him. Maybe they should have helped him take his own life. You know what I'm saying?
I was working it. And the doctor said the arteries not... They move around.
Well, I think that's a natural reflex for them to try to move out of the way.
But I got in there good. I was like zigzagging it, and it just still didn't work. Damn it. Oh well.
His story was that he wanted to end his own life so badly that before he went to the hospital, while at home, he tried to cut his own throat open.
When you hurt yourself, or when you cut your neck the first time, you said you did it 3 times today?
Oh, I did 6. I did 3 on one side. I just dug it in.
Yeah.
Nope. And then because it's supposed to work.
But did you have it bandaged up when you went to the hospital?
Yeah, because I was bleeding everywhere.
So where'd you get the bandaging?
At my house.
Oh, okay.
I just got some band-aids, put them on it.
Okay.
So then I put another one on top of it because like I'd get dressed and then all of a sudden down my front and be like gross.
As he says himself, on both sides. But he was too strong, and it did not work. I think he probably could have done more damage to himself with a nail clippers than whatever he allegedly tried to do. One of the paramedics who had tackled Gregson and tried to save Chapnick later said Gregson had told them, It didn't have to end this way. All he had to do was give me his gun.
I'm freakishly strong. No,
You
I
think,
am.
you think quite highly of yourself.
I am. I have lots of experience in restraint.
This detective is very annoyed by him because this guy will not stop talking about himself. He's a guy who only sees himself as important and feels like this whole thing, it doesn't matter if someone else died, because it should all be about him.
It's no big deal.
So how did paramedic wrestle you to the ground and keep you there if you're so strong?
Because I didn't, once he took me down, I stopped. It was done.
This guy really does just suck so bad. While he was awaiting treatment in hospital, Kevin remarked to one of the arresting officers that he thought city cops were tough and that he'd come to the hospital looking for a fight.
So your intention this evening was to take your own life?
Yeah, I tried to commit suicide. And it didn't work. And I'm trained to take life. That's my specialization. And I can't believe the stupid
Well, you continue to say your specialization. You didn't learn that as a police officer.
Yeah, I did.
Because I've never learned that. I've been a police officer longer than you.
They're not like us. We're the Mounties.
You're not like us is one fucking broad ass statement. Who's us? I think you're not like, I don't think no one's like you for your own fucking sake.
Constable Eric Chapnick, who was also known to friends as Pickles, because he loved pickles, so he was very much in the wrong place at the wrong time. Now, Chapnick was actually from Poland. He'd been born in Poland. He'd been in the Polish army before eventually emigrating to Canada, and while he was in Canada, he decided to change up careers, and he joined the Ottawa Police Force. He actually joined about 48 years old, if you can believe that. And he'd only been on the police force 3 years. He was 51 when he was brutally murdered by Kevin Gregson. He was the first officer to be killed in the line of duty in Ottawa since 1977. And Eric's last words to the paramedics trying to save his life were simply, "Thank you."
You feel sorry for what happened?
Oh, absolutely. There's nothing I can do. Nothing can be done. Like you said, you can't take back.
Well, there is. You could say sorry.
Are you? Well, to who?
Somebody will be watching this someday.
Yeah, I know. They're not gonna. His kids. Oh my gosh, he has kids.
How do you know?
Because Thompson told me. No, some other guy. He says, you're a, what he said, you sack of shit. He has 2 kids. Sorry. The story doesn't cut it. So
You might want to try it. No? You have the opportunity right now to look up at the camera and tell that widow and those children
you said
that
they're
you're
not going
sorry.
to watch it.
Oh, they'll be watching. I said everyone's going to watch this at some point.
Yeah, even my people at the RCMP. How embarrassing.
Guy literally doesn't, he's so self-entitled. Thank God this guy's in jail. I don't want to even know this guy exists. I wish I never learned this guy exists because I just want to beat the shit out of him.
Everyone's going to watch. It's embarrassing. You think this is embarrassing?
Yeah.
That's all you can think of. This is going to be embarrassing.
You went from flat foot to, oh, it's going to be embarrassing.
No.
Kevin's defense at his trial in February 2012 was to claim that the whole attack had been an elaborate attempt to take his own life. He was hoping Eric would shoot him dead. Easier ways than that, pal. Now, any notion that Kevin wanted to take his own life, suicide by cop or whatever, there's this one thing which kind of like throws cold water on that, which is if you were going to do that, to, go at a cop in the hope that they would kill you, why would you wear a body armor? Why would you wear body armor? Because Kevin was wearing body armor, not 1, but 2. He was wearing 2 bulletproof vests and then decided to sneak attack a cop in the hopes that the cop was John Wick.
You're wearing 2 bulletproof vests, Kevin.
No, you're wanting me to give you a statement again.
Well, I'm trying to understand, Kevin. And I'm sure everybody is. There's probably at least 800,000 people in this city who are trying to understand.
Yeah.
And there'll be probably hundreds of thousands of people in a couple days trying to understand.
Millions.
And this is your time to make them understand or to let them understand what happened.
Kevin's defense made little sense, and if we're honest,
Nothing about this makes any damn sense. Cause yeah, I don't know what the plan was. If he said, they wanted suicide by cop, you wouldn't wear bulletproof vests, especially two of them. But also, you'd give the cop the chance to do it.
never stood a chance of being successful. But then I think he knew that, and it was never the point to try and be found not guilty. He just wanted to have a trial and have all the focus and attention on him.
Yep.
Naturally, he was found guilty. It was never going to end any other way, as the witnesses and evidence were insanely overwhelming.
Gregson has pleaded not guilty to first-degree murder. Today, the defense and Crown lawyers gave their final argument.
Gregson has now admitted in open court he killed Chapnick, but the defense case is centered on Gregson's intent. Gregson told the jury that when he attacked Chapnick outside the civic campus of the Ottawa Hospital, he wanted Chapnick's gun so he could kill himself at home. The same argument he made to police officers soon after his arrest. He aggrandizes he's insensitive, he's a bully. Nevertheless, he stood in court and told you he didn't intend to murder Eric Chapnick. But the Crown's Brian Holoka reminded jurors Gregson...
That's insane for a guy, a person to be like, yeah, he's a bully, he's insensitive, he doesn't care about anyone. But he didn't say he didn't kill him. He didn't plan to kill him.
Showed up with 2 bulletproof vests, handcuffs, and an RCMP knife. When he stabbed Chapnick, his blows were lethal, not defensive.
And it was shortly before Kevin's sentencing for the brutal murder of Constable Chapnick that his other crimes came out, namely his 4 sexual assaults on a 10-year-old girl.
The victim tried to read this victim impact statement, but broke down crying. In it, she says that she forgives Gregson for what he did, but she also asks him to say he's sorry.
Gregson also addressed the court, but he did not apologize to the girl. Instead, in a short, rambling address, he said he never murdered Chapnick and that he had dreamed about this day when he was 20.
That crime would result in Kevin Gregson being found guilty and convicted of 4 counts of sexual assault and 4 counts of sexual interference with a minor. He got 10 years for that. Now, it's quite likely the inciting incident for why Kevin tried to murder Chapnick was that his wife was confronting him about the sexual assaults. She knew that he had been, raping a child. She knew about it, and in fact, she confronted him on December 28th, the day before he murdered Chapnick. I think it was his dark secret coming out, which led to him wanting to kill. Because he was going to kill to cover up. He would commit a worse crime to cover up. I mean, I don't know if it's a worse crime. Pretty freaking on par. It was a whole load of shite to cover up whatever shite this shite bag was doing. And so Kevin Gregson still sits in prison today, probably not having a ruddy good time, although I think he deserves that. Hopefully, that'll be the last we ever hear of him, or his bitching and moaning in the interrogation room.
Agreed. I want him to cease to exist. Fuck off, Kevin Gregson.
Thank you so much for watching.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is it for this reaction video. Let me know what you think in the comments. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all for the next one.